Hello. Okay. Okay, I'm live. Now, I don't really expect anybody to be here for this review because essentially it's kind of it's the start of a new channel and already there's somebody here. Wow. I just as the second I say it, it basically the opposite happens. But no, honestly, thanks anybody that watches this on playback, let alone live. But hey, Itchy, Itchy's here. He says, "Tubbs, Nuggles and Snuggles, buddy." Oh, to you too. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Like, I keep saying to myself it's real soon, but apparently it's still a long way away, which is really irritating. And I just hurt my knee that I just hit, but it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, of course. Hugely, it matters. But this is the beginning of a new chapter for this channel. This channel has gone through quite a bit in the past. A long time ago, this channel used to be used for in a different iteration, same account but different iteration. This was, hello moth, a tobacco and beer review channel. However, you know, that didn't go well, so I basically deleted all the content, rebranded it for my new store when I basically opened up an Etsy store to do art. However, that didn't go so well either. So now I'm starting a new thing, which is basically not related to anything that I do. Although I do expect some people to request me to do my own reviews of my own artwork at some stage. And I'm totally okay with that because I love picking apart my old stuff. It's bad. that's not a great thing to say, but you know, I can never find any good in it sometimes. There's only like 4 things that I've drawn ever that I kind of feel like I'm really super happy with this. I really like how this turned out, and I wouldn't change a thing. So yeah, and I've been an illustrator. I've been a tattoo designer. I still am. I've even been a jewelry designer, and essentially, I kind of knew what works for me anyway, art-wise. Currently, I'm a freelance artist. I basically still do the tattoo designs if somebody asks me to do a tattoo design for them. I even design some jewelry for them. They really wanted me to, but essentially, I'm a freelance artist. I kind of mostly do furry art. That's been my latest thing for some reason in my art career anyway. But I wanted to change that. I wanted to change it up a little bit and basically become a critic or like a reviewer of some other art. And essentially, I kind of feel like I could make a go of this, of doing a legitimate YouTube channel, basically. So yeah. So that's the introductions out of the way. As any artist, you're not alone. Exactly. We don't like our own work. It just does not work. Now, some people, I kind of wish that some of them were in the chat right now, so you can understand what I'm talking about. But essentially, I didn't really want to wrangle somebody along to basically, you know, I didn't want to put any pressure on anybody to come onto my channel because it would make it seem like I'm just trying to get them to talk super positively about me. But essentially, I've reviewed other people's, work before. I have actually done, ran a couple of old classes on doing how to draw stuff. I've like done private tutoring for people on how to draw stuff, and essentially one of the things that you do in that job is essentially, I've said essentially way too many times. This is how script writing works, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows this. You know, I'm constantly rereading what I've written, and I'm like, I've said this word like 6 times in one sentence. It's not good. It's not. I need a thesaurus. Help. Yeah. So it's bad. One of the things you do is you have to review their work, and as anybody that I've done this to will tell you, I am very honest but fair. You know, I will tell you what's wrong with your picture if there's anything wrong with the picture, but I also tell you where it looks fantastic, and that's kind of what I want to do. I kind of like that. That's the whole reason for this channel existing now. Anyway, so yeah, so let's get on with it. Ignore that. That's my drawing board, by the way. That's a very low-tech drawing board. Basically, you put a piece of paper on it and you draw on it, because I don't really have any desk space to actually do drawing. I don't have a professional easel. Well, I do, but I can't really set it up because I don't know where to set it up. So, so one of the first 3 pictures that I wanted to do is the picture that's behind me. That's a poster of. It doesn't actually have a name. I looked everywhere on the internet for the name of the picture, and it doesn't really have a name. So I was going to just call it by the name of the episode of Doctor Who that it appears in, but I thought that would be a bit bad. So I called it the Starry TARDIS, because it's essentially it's a picture apparently done by Van Gogh of the TARDIS exploding, and it's pretty good. So I wanted to do a review on it first. So I just wanted to know anybody's opinions on it. Like, what is your opinions on it? Where would you start the review if basically you had if you wanted to say anything about it? Because there is nothing on this picture. Essentially, all of the research that I've managed to do on this particular picture, because I was going to I have got the script ready for the episode in which I'm going to do on that picture, and it's mostly about Van Gogh. It's quite long, actually, about Van Gogh. I'm cutting bits out of it all the time because he was weird, interesting, but he was actually a crazy guy. Many different times. That's the strange part of it. It's like he seemed to sober up a little bit and you know be less crazy, and then he would go for a period of a couple of years of being crazy again. So yeah. So yeah, anyway, like I said, I can't really get the artist's impression because it's not Van Gogh. It's inspired by Van Gogh, but it's not Van Gogh. And by the way, if anybody basically tells me that I'm saying Van Gogh wrong, I've got a speech impediment, first off, and second of all, every single person seems to have a different interpretation of exactly how you say the word Van Gogh, exactly how you say the name Van Gogh. The internet has a different opinion, you know, because it is, when you type in Van Gogh and you tell the computer to say that, how would that sound? You know, you type it into Google, it basically is, you know, it tells you to say Van Gogh, but there's a weird thing on the end of the recording. I should actually just do it now. If I can find it on my tabs. I might do that in a minute. Remind me. The way you're saying it now is how I hear it mostly. Exactly. That's the way it's just I'm thinking about it in my head. But essentially, like the computer says it weird. The several videos that I watched a couple of videos just on YouTube, and one off of the Discovery website. That's the Discovery Channel. It used to be called the Discovery Channel website, but it's just the Discovery website, about Van Gogh. And basically, even in that one little, small documentary, there's like 3 people talking about Van Gogh, and they all have different pronunciations of his name. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. It honestly, it doesn't matter. If he basically went up to him, he probably wouldn't care, because apparently he had a thing about labels anyway. So yeah. My mouth has just gone super dry for no real reason. Super professional. What was I saying? Right. Yeah, I looked it up. And essentially, I learned all of this stuff about Van Gogh. And again, it's inspired by Van Gogh. And excuse me, it was meant to be a Van Gogh, it was meant to be done. The whole point of the story is that Van Gogh actually did do this painting. Did do this painting, so that was really annoying. Just from where the armrest of the chair touches the desk, it makes the keyboard mouse thing just kind of funny. I lost where I am again. I lost where I am again. Painting, I know, but where? Yeah, it's a big deal. And yet, it seems to have had no thought put into it whatsoever. Basically, they asked the art director to come up with several paintings for a previous episode in a previous season of Doctor Who, and essentially he did that. And then, oh fuck's sake, I had the name on my screen a minute ago. Jackson Pope. That's the art director for Doctor Who at the time, who I've confirmed is basically the one. It's called Exploding TARDIS, by the way. The internet calls it Exploding TARDIS, but I still don't like that name. It just doesn't seem very Van Gogh-ish. Jackson Pope is the art director. He basically did a bunch of paintings inspired by Van Gogh, and they basically just asked him to do this painting of the TARDIS exploding as if Van Gogh had painted it. And essentially that's what he did. And there is no writing about it. That's it. There's no interviewing him. There's no, the people have attempted to contact him to basically try to get his opinion on the painting, or like to get a bit more story behind it, exactly what he did for it, and he has not responded to them. There's a big dead end. So for my first painting, I basically have nothing about the actual painting itself, but a hell of a lot on the guy who it was inspired by in the script, and it's just really irritating. Now my critique, my critiquing is basically not, that's one of the ways that I'm actually doing these episodes. I'm going to be doing these episodes of the actual content, actual edited content, is I'm going to be I'm going to be going through a little bit of the background of the painting. Probably not this much. Like I said, the script is huge, and it mostly talks about Van Gogh. I'm probably not going to do this, that much background. But essentially, there's nothing I can really say about the actual background to this, besides that the art director basically painted this. So yeah, so my opinion is this is all about my opinion. Now, again, I would love it if you guys I think it's just you, Itchy, which is great. I love you around anytime. If you want to give me your opinion on it, then I'm good while I give my opinion. But this is basically just a summary of what I'm going to say in the episode. And essentially, my summary is that it's not a great rendition. It's actually not that good. You know, it's what it depicts is amazing. But the thing is that basically it's what can I say? It's not very detailed. There's a lot of splattering. There's not much. It's like it's been rushed. It's basically, if they took a lot more time actually painting this painting, it would be a lot more detailed, a lot more interesting to look at with a lot more detail. It's just that I keep saying that again. There's so much detail that is missing from this painting. Most of it is background, and most of the background is just these swirls, the Van Gogh swirls that you see whenever he depicts light. He basically like depicts it as like a swirly kind of like a mini hurricane of color. And that's basically because, you know, that's just been his whole thing the whole time. Basically, you know, we are living in a mini hurricane of color all the time, and it's you know, he's got that part right. I mean, you can see kind of like here the swirls from what I'm guessing is the explosion. It's either that or these are this is the thing. These are supposed to be swirls of the explosion, or they are other stars exploding or something. That's the crazy thing about Van Gogh, is that you couldn't tell if something. If you look at the painting Starry Night, you see all these amazing swirls of color, and you know, it's supposed to be the stars in the sky and stuff. And from what's happening in the painting and what happens later in the episode, not really a spoiler, unless you actually know about Doctor Who, I guess, is that basically like you see distant stars going supernova every now and again. And yeah, I mean, that part of Van Gogh has basically never been very detailed. So I understand what they're going for here. But at the same time, even though I said it's bad, it's actually really clever the way they've done it. It's meant to be done really quickly. It's like Van Gogh was painting this, and then he found out what he was painting, which is something that Van Gogh actually did, like, on occasion. He basically would start just like putting paint on to a canvas, and eventually it would turn into an actual painting. Like, he would figure out exactly what he was painting. I've got many different examples of this. I have to bring up my script, which means I won't be able to see the chat. I'm sorry. So there's kind of like that impression, and that's actually quite clever. There's also the you know, the whole detail argument that I just made. You could also argue that basically it's an explosion. It's kind of like a split second of time. That basically you wouldn't be able to see much detail anyway. You know, this split second happens so fast that you actually won't be able to see much detail before you're consumed by the explosion. So essentially, that would explain a lot of the blurriness that you see. And at the same time, that's the problem. That's the problem with this piece, is that essentially it's kind of, I said piece like a pretentious dick. I'm sorry. That is the problem though. There's a lot of not detail, and then there's incredible detail, like the mural. Ah, there's a moth. The mural, the notice on the TARDIS door. It's incredible detailed because basically it's Van Gogh's famous phrase that he hid into all of his paintings, and it's actually got like dates and numbers on it. And That's incredible detail. That's a problem because the door that it's on is there's no detail. You know, it's kind of it's a weird kind of selective. What is it called? The selective focus on something, which is kind of artistic, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to say in my review, but more elegantly summed up. Elegantly. So yeah. See, that's weird to me because it doesn't actually connect to the TARDIS, and some are coming from different directions too. Well, again, it's an explosion. So yeah, essentially the TARDIS is meant to be at the focal point of an explosion that is happening everywhere all at once, because the TARDIS is everywhere all at once. So it's kind of that's kind of what the depiction is. So it kind of makes sense. That's why the stars explode. It's kind of like, yeah. But yeah, so like I said, that's my experience. That's my experience. That's one basically what I'm going to say in the review that will come out probably next week, because I've got to record it and I've got to edit it and then I've got to do some voiceover work, which is kind of weird. That's going to be a bit annoying as well, because although I'm good at editing, I don't really have the best equipment. So essentially, the audio is probably going to be a bit shit, because essentially it's going to be the computer microphone or my phone's microphone, and it's going to be sound clips that are recorded from them and stuff. I do kind of want to do a picture-on-picture thing, but essentially I can't do a picture-on-picture thing. And in the future, I am going to actually have the painting or the piece of artwork that I'm going to be reviewing. Basically, is going to be like somehow connected to the wall, probably on this board somehow. So I can sit in the middle and it will be there, and I can actually just talk about it while it's in the picture, kind of, you know. That's one of the good things. That's one of the lucky accidents about having my drawing board just like up there. But yeah, I can talk about this more, but I don't want to screw up my review, you know. I don't want to give everything away from my review. I should also be taking notes on exactly what you said, Itchy, because basically I'm gonna it's recorded. It's gonna be recorded on YouTube. I can watch it again. I'm dingus. Do you think you can edit the vid to zoom in on the pic when you're talking about it? No. Is the short answer to that. Basically, I all of my editing software is basically expired. You know, so I don't actually have new. I don't have new like editing software, so it's a bummer. But what are you gonna do? I'm stuck with. This is kind of bad. I'm actually stuck with Windows Movie Maker, and I'm actually using that for like work projects when people could ask me to edit stuff for work. But nobody's complained yet, so I don't understand. Because yeah, I used to use Sony Vegas for a while, but essentially it's like it's expensive. But I've always used Windows Movie Maker if I'm just want to edit something real quick or something that's not really that important, you know. And this is really important, so I should kind of like, I should invest, but to be fair, I don't really have time right now. Basically, it's going to be behind me, or it's going to be like the entire screen is going to cut to like me talking about it, to basically it being on screen and me doing the, like I said, the voiceover, recording, narration, and all that stuff. Because for some reason, Movie Maker doesn't have a picture-in-picture. You know, I can't put a picture here, which is really irritating because that would be a lot clearer and you guys could see it way better. Well, but yeah. I need like, well, what's Mac's editing software? You know, because I know for a fact that basically, you know, MacBooks, they come with or can have easily downloadable, because Windows doesn't actually come with Movie Maker anymore. So yeah, I actually had to download it onto this computer a while ago. But Apple Macs, basically, they have something else, but I can't remember what it's called. I keep thinking Supercut. I keep thinking it's Supercut, but I think that's an extension of it or something. But yeah, apparently that's way better. I played around with it once, but that was it. But it's like I didn't get to like mess with it a lot because it was in a store. But essentially, it's way better. You can actually do picture-in-picture, and is it just called iMovie? Really? That seems very lazy. I am actually seriously considering just like looking on like Amazon or going to a cash converters, because so it's a second-hand store in the UK. You basically you have these places in the UK where you can take in your old junk and they will give you money for it, and then they will sell it on for profit. And they're called cash converters now because they seem to be the only real good, like, reliable second-hand store chain. So essentially, I might just go into a cash converters, browse the computer section. However, they do have this thing where they actually restore the original product to almost up to you know, almost perfect, pristine factory standards. And because they do this, they can sell it for almost the same amount of money that you can get it for, you know, get a brand new one, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But I understand. I get it. They need to make money. Had to use Adobe Premiere Pro in college. That was some crazy software. You see, I could never get along with it. I basically tried to use it a couple of times, and essentially, it was really good, but it took a while to do. I mean, if I basically had started out using it, I imagine that I would be, you know, things would run a lot smoothly, a lot more faster. But it just seems to lack accessibility for certain things. I don't know. I might need to like do like a tutorial course or something. Just you know, basically spend a weekend going through some YouTube videos on how to do stuff. But yeah, I kind of it was like I said that it was good, but they would just it lacked accessibility a little bit. It's basically every single YouTube channel basically uses Adobe, so it's like Premiere Pro. They've gone to this new thing where you have to subscribe to their software. You have to pay a subscription for their software instead of just having it on your computer. It's almost like you've got you have to pay a subscription to use it. What the fuck? When I hate that programs have have been doing this now for a little while, but I hated this that this was a thing when it first came out, and I still hate it because essentially, who can afford that? It's really expensive. It's also, like I said, really expensive. You know, I used it. I like the graphic design one, Illustrator, but hated the vid one. The Illustrator thing, I mean, yeah, it's basically Illustrator. It's essentially a strip that's a very, very tiny bit. I don't think it even is. You know, I've used Photoshop and I've used Illustrator in the past. Excuse me. Yeah, I've used Photoshop and I've used Illustrator in the past. They're basically the same thing. You know, I would argue that there's more stuff on Photoshop to edit pictures and stuff like that, but essentially you can just go to Illustrator. You can go to Illustrator, import it into Photoshop, and do a bunch of editing stuff to your illustration. But then you can actually draw in Photoshop. So what I'm trying to say is that basically, if you got Photoshop, you don't really need Illustrator. That's what I meant to say. They're not the same thing. If you got Photoshop, there you go. Yeah, it's like a yearly cost. And Steve, well, excuse me, very unprofessional. Apologize. That is not going to happen much on this channel. I do apologize. I just been like I drunk Pepsi Max. It happens. It's like a yearly cost. Okay, well, it's still expensive though. I can't imagine they turned down their prices from the last time I looked at it, because I was gonna get the whole suite, the whole Pro suite, a while back. When I was thinking about getting a tablet to actually do the drawings and stuff, do digital art, and essentially that was it was I don't know how much it was. It was crazy money. It was crazy money. I can't. But essentially, it was basically Illustrator, Photoshop, and Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro. It might have been Premiere Pro as well. So yeah, it was kind of crazy, especially when there's like free alternatives to this stuff. You'd think that basically they would lower their costs because everybody's using the free alternatives because they're so expensive. But nope. What's happening with my shirt? Why is this sleeve going up? Yeah, I'm definitely not saying it's cheap. That's the problem. Yeah, and because it's a subscription thing, it's not just a one. You know, it's not just like you pay for it once, and you know, I can't justify paying large amounts of money many times for one thing, you know. However, I could justify spending a potentially slightly larger small amount of money for one thing that gets updated as part of its thing. You know, it's weird. It's like my phone. It's like my phone right now. I'm basically trying to find a good cheap ish handset. So basically, that's still pretty good from Apple, and just because it's crazy the amount of money that they're taking from me for this thing. So yeah. I kind of don't know what else to say now. Again, hopefully this video is hopefully going to be up in around about a week's time, maybe. I have a lot of crap that's happening right now, so essentially it's going to be a thing where I'm going to try to do a video a week, a video and a live stream a week on this channel, and essentially just gonna maybe build up from there if it starts to get traction. But I'm actually going to stick with this and try to keep this going, because something has to eventually. Yeah. Right then. Well, I've got a thing also where I'm trying to think of a way that basically people can talk to me or give me their own opinions as well. And I've got basically I'm just going to use the comment sections. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the comment sections. So, like, if anybody has an opinion on this painting, then, like, by all means, let me know in the comments below. And if you have got a picture that you want me to, like, critique or whatever, I'm going to try to do this thing where it could be any piece of art. It could be any like illustration, painting. Even I want to say photography, but if this channel does become big, I don't want to spend forever looking at a bunch of people's genitals just because they think that it's artsy, or that they're trolling me or something. So photography not going to be part of this thing unless basically many people suggest it's a famous photograph, whatever. But yeah, it's going to be not just like pop culture art. It's going to be like classical art. It could be fucking cave paintings. I will basically start to do a weekly show on the painting, and actually just, yeah. I'm actually excited for this. Like, damn. It's very much like Metacritters, where Metacritters, the my brand, my old brand of Etsy, my Etsy store brand, Metacritters. When I first started that, I was super excited. I knew it would start slow, maybe, and stuff, but I didn't expect it to do nothing. But yeah. Oh please, Itchy! It's just one. You see one penis, you seen them all. You know, dicks aren't really that impressive. Vaginas are slightly more impressive, but you know. Well, that's good. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna go, and I will watch this back again and remember what you said about the explosion. That it seems to be coming from multiple different directions and stuff. I will, because I need to basically remember what I said to, in response to that. I can't remember, so I'm gonna have to come and watch this again. So yeah. They're not impressive at all because they're supposed to be in something anyway. Yes, it's not the aesthetic doesn't really matter when it comes to penises. Are you really talking about this on my serious channel? If you save it for my blogging channel, because I don't know. I'm gonna try to. I'm definitely going to try to keep this separate from a bunch of other stuff I do on the internet, because I work on the internet, and it's hard. It's hard keeping that shit away from stuff. I'm just going to hit the button. Okay, a large spider just crawled across my floor. Anyway, I think this was a success, even though it was just me and you, Itchy. But then again, most of the time I think that anyway. Yeah, I'll see you probably later. And anybody that's watching this on playback, this will be a regular thing. I will be back to discuss the next piece of art, or announce it and discuss it to get people's immediate reactions. That's what these live streams are going to be. They're basically people's immediate live reactions, and their immediate takes on the painting, so that I can contribute those potentially to what I've got already for my reviews. So yeah. Wonder what next week's going to be. Well, probably potentially the week after next, because I'm just going to go. I need a catchphrase as well. Keep it artsy fartsy. Artsy fartsy. That sounds right. It's kind of like keep it classy. Go fuck yourself, Sony. No, I'm not going to do quotes from Anchorman. That seems to be the lowest form of. I'm just going to go before I get hit by something on the internet. Bye. And I hit the button. Nothing else. This is embarrassing.